Hello everyone and welcome. Today Ecosystem is talking about the labeling obligations in the Italian packaging law. It is obvious that this can lead to confusion as soon as you try to understand it. After all, some things are very strictly regulated and others seem to be rather a matter of interpretation and leaves a lot of room for creative Dolce Vita. My name is Tibor and maybe I can help you a little bit through the Italian law thicket. So grab a hot drink of your choice, sit back and pay attention because this might be a bit bumpy. Packaging law in Italy imposes a strict labeling obligation. As a result, online retailers are also required to label the material of packaging they place on the market in Italy. In doing so, they must comply with environmental labeling standards. More specifically, Decree 116 of September 3rd, 2020 obliges actors along the supply chain to label packaging materials. Products whose labels were printed by January 1st, 2023 may continue to be sold if it can be proven that the products were purchased for sale before December 31st, 2022. Furthermore, the decree makes environmental labels mandatory on all packaging in Italy. The recyclable packaging is sent for recycling and the remaining packaging is used for energy recovery, for which the correct separation of recyclable materials is the basic prerequisite. The labeling and who is affected by it. For use in the Italian market, in addition to product packaging, both shipping and transport packaging must be labeled. Traders are obliged to different degrees of labeling. Here, different rules apply to product, as well as shipping packaging and transport packaging for B2B sales is also affected by an exception. A legally compliant packaging labeling for product and shipping packaging consists of at least two components as well as other voluntary additions. Firstly, it indicates in the first step, according to the decision 97/129 EC of the EU Commission, the materials or the material of the packaging or packagings with alphanumeric code. You can find a list with all the codes in the video description. Second, they must be marked with a clear disposal notice for end users. The instructions must be in Italian, easy to understand and clearly visible, and can consist of, among other things, the Italian word for the material group and collection, such as raccolta carta for paper and cardboard-based packaging components or raccolta plastica for plastic-based packaging components. It is important that each packaging component is listed individually with its material code and disposal notice. There is freedom of choice in design. For example, a manufacturer of pasta can display the material code as well as sorting instructions against the background of a cooking pot. However, it should be noted that some symbols are not allowed, especially in combination with the alphanumeric material code. Recommendations for voluntary additional labeling. In addition, there is a recommendation for the labeling of packaging that consists of several components. Here, the Italian packaging law recommends helping consumers to know how to separate and dispose of individual components. The form of presentation and communication is absolutely free and can take many forms, such as a short text or a graphic. However, the text must be in Italian. Another recommendation is information on the correct separation of waste, such as this.
Svuotare l'imballaggio.
Pecularities and exceptions in the marking of packaging. According to the letter of the President of CONAI, all packaging must be appropriately marked according to the modalities provided by the applicable unitechnical standards. This means that labeling can be designed in the form and manner that the establishment deems appropriate to convey the information required by law. Thus, each establishment has the discretion to choose the graphics and presentation to communicate the information. It only needs to be effective and consistent with the objectives of Article 219, paragraph 5. The size of the labeling also has no fixed requirements, but it is recommended to adjust the font size depending on the size of the packaging as follows. On packages smaller than 80 square centimeters, the letter X should have a minimum height of 0.9 millimeters. For larger packages, a minimum height of 1.2 millimeters is recommended for the letter X. You can use single color or multicolor recycling labels. If you want to use colors, it is recommended to consider the general color scheme of the waste types. Blue is for paper, brown for organic waste, yellow for plastics, turquoise for metals, green for glass, and gray for residual waste. You can also voluntarily use additional information or seals. However, in some cases you must adhere to certain standards. If a type of plastic is not precisely defined in 97129 EC, the number 7 is used and optionally designated with the exact abbreviation of the polymer. Those who wish to provide additional information on the environmental characteristics of the packaging, like labels, symbols, pictograms and other similar messages, environmental claims and the like, must refer to the UNI EN 14021 standard. That's the environmental self-declaration. In the case of packaging made of recycled plastic, optional reference can be made to UNI standard 10667-1 to distinguish the polymers coming from recycling. The standard indicates that for recycled polymers, the letter R can be indicated before the coating of the polymer. And now things get really wild, because in Italy there are many peculiarities and special rules for the labeling of packaging. For example, if packaging consists of several materials but the secondary material is less than 5% of their weight, they are classified as single material packaging. They are then labeled according to the predominant material by the weight. The 5% rule is relevant, for example, when using printing ink or glue. However, if the size of the packaging is too small to put the information on each material, there is another solution. In such cases, the labeling can be placed on the main part of the packaging. Sharing the information via QR code or website is also possible in isolated cases. What are the transition periods? Originally, packaging had to be marked with the alphanumeric code by January 1st, 2022, so that the material could be identified. Information on correct disposal was also to be mandatory on packaging by then. This deadline has now been postponed to January 1st, 2023. Packaging that is already in circulation may continue to be distributed beyond this date without the new labeling. However, this exemption only applies until this already existing stock is used up. Where must the label be affixed? The mandatory recycling label can be applied or printed, engraved directly on the packaging or on a carrier provided by the packaging system. The identification code of the packaging and the instructions for disposal can also be located in different places. The mandatory recycling labels, at least the alphanumeric coding according to Decision 129/97 EC of the individual components that can be separated manually and form the sales unit, should be shown on each component. If this is not possible, they can be indicated either on the main body of the packaging system or on the label or on another component, such as the package insert, where the information is easily recognizable by the end user. Meeting sustainability compliance. For ecosystem customers, there are individual instructions on how online retailers can sell their products in Italy in compliance with the law. Ecosystem customers can find out exactly how this works and how much this environmental levy costs online retailers in our Italy dashboard. Well, that was the ecosystem overview of the packaging law and the labeling obligation in Italy. If you would like to sell to Italy, I can only recommend our services. If you want to learn more about packaging licenses in the EU in the future, you should definitely subscribe to this channel and visit our website. Thanks for watching, and let us know if we can help you. See you next time.